We're live in Joliet, Illinois at the University of St. Francis and the Sullivan Center on campus here as the Fighting Saints get set to take on the Lakers of Roosevelt in a CCAC basketball matchup. I'm Terry Bonadonna on the call for today's game between the 8 and 14 Saints, the 19 and 4 Lakers, who are winners of 8 straight. Fusak and Morrison at center court right now waiting for the tip, and we'll get going as the ball is thrown up in the air and the tip is won by Roosevelt. The Lakers wearing black. They're going from left to right in the first half. Saints in white, going from right to left. Here's Fusak nearly throwing it in the hands of Jordan Thornton. He does find his intended target, Grant Gibson. The Lakers are able to keep the possession alive with 16 to shoot. Jake Ludwig bounces the ball a couple of times and fires it over to Adam Alexander. Alexander drives and kicks back outside. Here's Alexander driving the baseline, guarded by Antonio Hughes. It's stripped by Hughes. And Hayden Witt scoops up the loose ball. Nice defense by the Fighting Saints. Antonio Hughes fires down low to Ian Morrison. Morrison backing in on Fusak, up with the left hand and in. Saints strike first, it's 2-0. Take a look at the starters for both of these teams here. Roosevelt led by 7th-year head coach Joe Griffin. Three-pointer misses by Gibson, but an offensive rebound from Carson Hughes and he's fouled. Carson Hughes, Jake Ludwig, Grant Gibson are the guards. Forwards are Adam Alexander and Chandler Fusak for the Fighting Saints. Your guards are Terry Howard, Jordan Thornton, and Antonio Hughes. The forwards are Ian Morrison and Hayden Witt, starting his 3rd straight game in place of Pietro Badalassi. Foul was called on Hayden Witt, his first. It is the game's first foul. Here's Jake Ludwig. Ludwig pulls it out. Now steps to the three-point line and loses his dribble. He's got to get rid of it to Chandler Fusak. Hughes. Down low to Alexander. Alexander back out to Grant Gibson. Drives, pulls up, finds the open shooter. Adam Alexander misses the three. And the rebound goes out to Ian Morrison. Saints basketball, 2-point lead, a minute and a half in. Antonio Hughes fires up top to Jordan Thornton. At the elbow, it's Ian Morrison. Morrison, reverse layup, he's fouled. Ian Morrison off to a good offensive start, scored the first 2 points, now a chance to add a couple more. Last time Saints were here at home was a week ago today against Calumet St. Joseph. In that game, I think Morrison scored the first 8 points for St. Francis. Today he's got the first 3. It's a 3-0 lead. Next shot for Morrison rims out. Here come the Lakers. Roosevelt, one of the top teams in the CCAC this year. Set up for Carson Hughes for 3, no good. Offensive rebound. Lakers are 10-3 in conference this year. Jake Ludwig hits the three-pointer, and we are tied. 3-all, just over 2 minutes into the action. Here's Hayden Witt up top, passing over the right side, Antonio Hughes. Down low, Morrison. Morrison up with the left hand, he comes up short. And Chandler Fusak comes away with the rebound. Fusak, 6'9" tall junior from Geneva. On the runner, Ludwig banks it in. So Morrison's got the first 3 points for St. Francis, but Jake Ludwig has all 5 now for the Lakers. Only 2 men have scored through 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Terry Howard trying to add his name to the list on the drive. He ends up losing the ball, stripped and taken away. Ludwig for 3. Good. Jake Ludwig is on an individual 8-0 run, and a timeout is called by Ryan Marks from the St. Francis bench. It's a 30-second timeout with 17:06 to play in the first half. St. Francis hit a quick 3-0 lead. But ever since, it has been all Jake Ludwig as he has scored 8 consecutive points to give Roosevelt a 5-point advantage coming into the timeout. Saints have lost their last 3 games after they'd evened up their conference record at 5 and 5. They've dropped 2 of them at home. St. Francis, St. Xavier and Calumet St. Joseph knocked out St. Francis. And then on the road, a very tough loss against Trinity International this past Wednesday. 87-86 was the final score of that game. Came down to the final seconds. Back out of the timeout. Terry Howard is inbounding. He sends it into Jordan Thornton. Gets it right back as the press from Roosevelt backs up. Ian Morrison at the high post, hands it off to Antonio Hughes. Now Howard down low to Morrison. Morrison backing in against Fuzak, blocked by Fuzak. This ball picked up by Ludwig. And he'll slow things down a little bit. Ludwig off to Grant Gibson, misses the 3 short. Hughes comes in for the rebound. Antonio Hughes on the run, slows it down. And on the other end of the floor, Hayden Witt is down, and they have stopped play to deal with Hayden Witt's injury. Witt hit the ground hard on that last possession. He's up now, walking gingerly off the court. He'll get some help from the trainers, but nice to see him walking off the floor okay after just a short time lying down around the free throw line. He'll have to depart the game for now. Thomas Parada is going to come in. But we won't have a long delay here as everyone is ready to go once again. 8-3, Roosevelt has the lead in the first half. Thornton inbounds it to Parada as we are ready to go again. Jordan Thornton on the outside, drives to the right. Thornton's runner, no. Rebound tapped around by Morrison, he pulls it in, and he draws a foul on the floor. No free throws coming here, but Morrison did a nice job keeping that possession alive for the Fighting Saints. Draws a foul on Chandler Fuzak, and that's already the second foul on Fuzak. So that's a nearly 8-point per game scorer who has to sit down early with a couple of fouls. He's replaced by Kevin Day. 16:22 to play in the first half. Thornton looking to get it in. Can't find anyone. Now finally to Hughes in the corner. Terry and Howard over to Hughes on the right wing. Guarded by Ludwig. Somewhere on the left side. Jordan Thornton tries for 3. Comes up short. And the rebound goes to Jake Sweeney. First rebound for Sweeney in off the bench. Ludwig on the drive. Dish down low. There's Joshua Dillingham back outside. $11 to shoot. This is a drive from Carson Hughes. Hughes, little floater over Ian Morrison, no, and Morrison tips the rebound to Terry Howard. Saints trail by 5. They haven't been able to score in a little while ever since Ian Morrison had the game's first 3 points. Morrison had good positioning inside, but dribbled the ball off his leg, and it forces a tie-up. The ball will stay with St. Francis, so that's a tough break for the Saints because had Morrison caught that ball cleanly, he had good post position, was in good shape to get a couple more points on the board. And instead, they'll have to reset the possession with 18 seconds on the shot clock. .5 minutes to play in the first half. I'm not sure what the officials are discussing here. I think the shot clock was the issue, but shot clock does not reset on a held ball when the offense retains possession, and that's what they have determined. Here's Parada. Parada gets inside to Morrison, who's called for the offensive foul. Morrison lowered his shoulder, and it's a turnover committed by St. Francis. Second foul called against the Fighting Saints. This is Kyle Bumbelow playing the point out. Bumbelow loses the ball to the backcourt. He said it was tipped back, but the official disagrees. It is St. Francis basketball on a Roosevelt turnover. Thomas Parada inbounds it from half court. Saints now over 3 minutes without a bucket. In fact, their only actual field goal came their first time down the floor. Since then, the only point was a free throw. Terry Howard nearly had that pass stolen away from him, but he's able to grab away from Ludwig. Now Parada inside, gives it off to Morrison, and Morrison fouled going up. 2 free throws coming in Morrison's way.
Roosevelt foul number 33, James Sweeney. First personal, 13 foul.
Morrison hits on the first free throw. Still have only had 2 players score in this game. Four points for Ian Morrison. Jake Ludwig has all 8 for Roosevelt, and Morrison hits the second. Scores 8-5. Bumbelow bounces it off to Kevin Day. Day guarded by Parada. Shot clock at 12. This is Ludwig. Ludwig drives to the left, tries to lay it up, but he's fouled. 2 free throws coming for Ludwig. Trying to add to his total. Ludwig against Morrison today. Ludwig's winning the battle 8-5. First free throw attempt for the junior guard, rims in. 9-5 is the score. Ludwig, an 89% shooter from the line, hits them both. 10-5. And Ludwig's got all 10. Team's leading scorer this season, the only one in double figures. He averages 18 per game. Ryan Peters in the game for St. Francis, placing Jordan Thornton. It's Thomas Parada at the high post. He bounces low to Morrison, back out to Hughes. Hughes gets inside, up with the left hand, can't get the roll. Tip, no, battle for the rebound. Still loose. Now we got a timeout called by Roosevelt. Ludwig somehow wrapped up that ball as he was falling in the corner and was able to get the timeout called. 30-second timeout with 14:05 to play in the first half. Roosevelt leads 10-5. Jake Ludwig has all 10 for the Lakers. Ian Morrison has all 5 for the Fighting Saints. Second meeting this year between these two teams. The Saints fell at Roosevelt on January 3rd. It was a 78-66 final. Since then, Roosevelt has not lost a game. They've won 8 in a row overall. They've won 7 in a row in conference. 10-3 right now in the CCAC, trailing only Governors State for conference supremacy. Governors State, the number 24 team in the country in the latest poll. Roosevelt just missing the cut. They're number 26 right now in terms of total votes. Lakers basketball coming out of the timeout, going the length of the floor. This is Kyle Bumbelow. Bumbelow passes off to Ludwig and gets it right back. Ludwig on the left side. Dribbles inside in the paint, throws it up, no, off the glass, and the rebound goes to Antonio Hughes. Garrett Jackson is in as the St. Francis center right now. Ian Morrison is on the bench. He's the only one who scored today for the Saints, so they need to find another source right now. This is Jackson, over to Hughes on the right side. Antonio Hughes guarded by Kyle Bumbelow. Way outside to Thomas Parada, 10 seconds on the shot clock. They reset things. Terrian Howard dribbles to the right. Howard with 4 to shoot, finds Parada, an open baseline shot, it's good. Thomas Parada scores, makes it 10-7. First points for Parada, first points for anyone other than Morrison. Alexander gets it outside to Bumbelow. Bounce down low, Dillingham off the glass, no. Rebound tipped into the hands of Ryan Peter. Antonio Hughes on the run the other way is fouled by Jake Ludwig. And that is Ludwig's first foul. He grabs the seat. Carson Hughes back in. Now we got a timeout on the floor. 12 minutes, 53 seconds to play in the first half. Roosevelt 10, St. Francis 7. Be back in a minute. (10-7) Roosevelt through the first 7 minutes of today's game. Just 3 of 10 from the field are the Lakers, but they've been able to build a 3-point lead just the same, thanks to a couple of 3-pointers. St. Francis is only 2 of 8 from the field, but 3 of 4 from the free throw line. Thomas Parada knocked down a jumper a couple of moments ago. That snapped a string of 5 straight points by Ian Morrison, which might not be a long string of points for one man, but they have been the only points through the first 6+ minutes. And now Parada's name is on the score sheet as well. And the Saints trying to get some help from their bench with right now 3 subs on the floor. Thomas Parada, Garrett Jackson, and Ryan Peter. This is Peter in possession of the basketball. 20 seconds on the shot clock. Down low to Jackson. Shoveled back out to Terry and Howard. Howard walks it to the top and passes to Antonio Hughes. Hughes has 8 to shoot. He drives with the left hand. Leaner is blocked by Dillingham, and a loose ball picked up by Carson Hughes. Hughes slows it down and gives it up. Grant Gibson on the drive, and Gibson called for the offensive foul. First foul on Gibson, but it is the 5th on the team, so with 12:20 still to play, the Saints already nearing the bonus. Hayden Witt back in the game. Witt left with an injury earlier, but obviously not very serious. That's good news for the Saints. Brett Risley is in there as well. He's got the ball in the corner. Guarded by Hughes. He dribbles once and gives it up to Jackson. Garrett Jackson's jumper misses, and Joshua Dillingham battles for that rebound to pull it down for Roosevelt. Kyle Bumbelow passes to his left. This is Gibson. Now Bumbelow. A little floater, misses short, rebounded by Risley. Either offense getting in gear in the early going today. Saints trying to turn that around with Jordan Thornton in possession. Thornton pulls up, passes off to Jackson through his hands and picked off by Alexander. Hughes steps into a 3-pointer. Too strong. Rebound brought down by Alexander. And Alexander goes back up with it. It's stripped, ball loose. Hayden Witt falls on top of it. We got a tie-up, and the possession arrow faces Roosevelt. 11:19 to play in the first half. Lakers basketball. And then some substitutions for Roosevelt. Kevin Day is back in. Jake Ludwig returns to the floor. He's got all 10 points so far. Alexander passes to his left. It's Carson Hughes. Day in the corner. Here's Jake Ludwig. Ludwig guarded by Risley. Gets inside. Blocked by Risley, but he's fouled. So Jake Ludwig will try to snap a scoring drought here from the free throw line. Ludwig hit 2 of 2 free throws a few moments ago, a 90% shooter this year. And the first one rolls around the rim and falls. Roosevelt by 4. Second free throw is good as well. 12-7 our score. Been 6 minutes plus since Roosevelt last hit on a field goal. But now 4 of 4 from the free throw line as they've been able to extend their lead. Been a while since St. Francis has scored as well. Nearly 3 minutes of game time. Brett Risley inside the three-point arc, passes off to Hayden Witt. And now over to Jordan Thornton at the midcourt circle. He'll set up the offense with 15 on the shot clock. Thornton cuts in, finds Hayden Witt on the outside. Witt misses the jumper. And it's one and done for the Saints. Lakers on the move. Carson Hughes. Swung around to Hughes on the left side, and Hughes slows it down. Ludwig drives the baseline. Jake Ludwig kicks it out. Grant Gibson. Back to Ludwig. Deep three. It's good. Ludwig's got 15 points. And it's an 8-point lead for Roosevelt. First field goal for the Lakers in over 7 minutes. Saints have not been able to capitalize. They're ice cold from the field. This is Risley on the baseline. Offensive foul. That'll bring Ian Morrison back into the game with 9:55 to play in the first half. Garrett Jackson heads out. Second foul on Risley. Both teams now are at 5. Ludwig, the guard from St. Charles North High School, hands it off to Adam Alexander. Now Carson Hughes back in Alexander. Kicked out to Kevin Day for 3. It's good. First points of the game for Roosevelt belonging to anybody other than Jake Ludwig. Kevin Day is on the board. And the Roosevelt lead is 11. They've scored the last 8 points. Jordan Thornton, step back jumper, good. Saints needed that one. Back to within 9. Ludwig inside to Day. Day kicks it out to a Sweeney who misses the 3. Rebound tapped out of bounds. Last touch by Risley. It's still Roosevelt ball. Jake Sweeney will inbound here. Sweeney, like Ludwig, from St. Charles, Illinois, but he went to St. Charles East High School. Ludwig starred at North for 4 years. 9 minutes to go in the first half. 9-point lead for the Lakers. Adam Alexander gives it off to Jake Ludwig. Ludwig around a screen to his left, picks up his dribble and throws it off to Sweeney. Carson Hughes with 11 to shoot. Over to Sweeney, extra pass in the corner. Kevin Day misses the 3-point attempt this time. Hayden Witt comes down with the rebound, but it's stripped out of his hands by Ludwig, who deflects it off of Witt and out of bounds. So the Lakers get the ball right back after missing the shot. Witt came down with the rebound, but just as quickly lost the ball. Lakers nearly threw it away. Ludwig was able to chase it down just before it went out of bounds. Sweeney at the top of the key. Passes to his right. Alexander. Hand off to Ludwig. Ludwig drives with the left hand, gets inside and kicks it out. Day, open 3, no. And the rebound tapped by Alexander, back to Ludwig. Whistle blows away from the ball. We got a technical on Ryan Marks. So Ryan Marks has been teed up. That'll be free throws for Jake Ludwig, trying to add to a 9-point lead. And Marks is still barking at the officials. Hasn't slowed down at all after getting that tee. once he calms down to the satisfaction of the officials, Ludwig will get his free throws. 8:07 to play in the first half. Things not going the Saints' way right now, particularly on the offensive end. They've done a good job shutting down Roosevelt's offensive game, but they just have not been able to respond. As Ludwig adds to his point total, he's got 16 now, 2 off of his season average, and we're only 12 minutes in. He misses the second free throw, so he's now 5 of 6 from the line in this one. Lakers get the ball back following the free throws off the technical foul. Fresh 30-second shot clock. Alexander off to Dillingham. Ludwig. Down low to Alexander. Saints in his own defense. Dillingham extends his arm, knocks down Ian Morrison, and it's an offensive foul. 6th foul called against Roosevelt. First on Joshua Dillingham. And a turnover. Big defensive stand right there for St. Francis. After Ludwig had already made the technical foul shot, you didn't want to see that turn into a 3 or a 4-point possession. So they do hold him to just 1. Antonio Hughes and Terrion Howard back in the game for Ryan Marks, and Howard gets it across half court. Here's Morrison, outside to Howard. Thornton lobs it back low to Ian Morrison. Morrison turnaround against Dillingham, can't bank it in, and it's rebounded by Roosevelt. Ludwig ahead to Hughes. Hughes back to Ludwig for 3. It's good. Jake Ludwig hits another 3. He's got 19 of his team's 22, and it's a 13-point lead for Roosevelt. Hughes over to Howard. Right wing, Terrion Howard looking for the screen from Hayden Witt. He gets it, takes a dribble to his left, and now picks it up, gets it away to Antonio Hughes. 8 on the shot clock. Hughes drives to his left. Back outside Thornton. 3 seconds on the shot clock. Thornton walks into a 3-pointer. Rims out. Rebound knocked by Ian Morrison out the baseline and out of bounds. It is a Roosevelt possession as the Saints come up empty on the Jordan Thornton 3-point attempt. Jake Ludwig fires down to Carson Hughes in the corner. Hughes way off on the 3, rebounded by Antonio Hughes. Hughes gets inside, stripped by Ludwig. Jake Ludwig has numbers. He pulls up at the 3-point line, fires another one. Off the mark this time. Offensive rebound to Esquini. Pass is tipped up in the air, but Ludwig pulls it down. To the right side, Carson Hughes. Into the corner, Esquini. Fires down low to Dillingham. 10 on the shot clock, back to Esquini. Here's Alexander from the free throw line. He hits the jumper. Roosevelt leads 24-9, and Ryan Marks calls a full timeout. 5:58 to play in the first half. Saints not getting much done on the offensive end right now. Ian Morrison had 5 early points since then. A Thomas Parada jumper and a Jordan Thornton jumper, the only 2 made field goals of the game for St. Francis. They are 3 of 15 from the field, just 20%. Roosevelt has not shot the ball well either. They're only 33% right now, but 5 of their 7 made shots have been 3-pointers. And they've also got 5 points from the free throw line. That's been a big difference in this game. 6 offensive rebounds for the Lakers today, and that has aided their cause as well, as they've taken 6 shots more than St. Francis has in this game up to this point. Second meeting this year between these two teams. First one was fairly close. It was a 12-point final, but the Saints were in it most of the way. Not able to pull off the upset of Roosevelt back on January 3rd at Roosevelt. And despite the fact that this is only the second meeting between these two teams this year, they've both seen a lot of each other. Roosevelt played here in the St. Francis Classic back in November, getting games against Lyon College and East West University. And St. Francis then went down to the Roosevelt Classic in December, splitting games against Madonna and Lake Forest. So Roosevelt's played 2 games in this arena already this year, but this is the first time they've played here against St. Francis. Likewise, the Saints have played 2 games, or 3 games rather, at Roosevelt, only one of them actually against the Lakers. Here's Thomas Parada across half court. Parada gives it up to Terrian Howard. Jordan Thornton in a circle, back out to Terrian Howard. Shot clock at 13, Ian Morrison at the free throw line. Bounces a couple of times, hands it off to Antonio Hughes. Hughes bounces low for Morrison, who's fouled. And that will send Ian Morrison to the free throw line.
Called on number 24, Adam Alexander.
That is the first foul on Adam Alexander. 1-1 from the line now for Morrison. 3 of 4 from the stripe so far today. And Morrison misses the front end. Roosevelt comes away with the rebound. 5.5 minutes to play in the half. Here's Ludwig. Over to his left and Esquini. Bounced back to Ludwig. Ludwig nearly lost the ball. Gets it right back. Here's Dillingham. 3-point attempt, Hughes, no good. And rebounded by Antonio Hughes. He'll slow things down a little bit across the timeline. Jordan Thornton on the right side, back up top, Parada. Moving the ball from side to side, bounced low for Jordan Thornton, step back jumper over Esquini is short. The rebound is tipped out of bounds, last touch by Carson Hughes. St. Francis basketball, they'll get a new 30 seconds on the shot clock. .443 to play in the half. Thornton, the inbounder from the corner. They're actually resetting the shot clock. Oh, they're going to settle on 30. Seems about right. Inbounded to Morrison. Morrison has it in the post. Backing down on Alexander. He kicks it out to Antonio Hughes for 3. No. Rebounded by Grant Gibson. Roosevelt doing a good job on rebounds so far in this game. Saints have not gotten extra chances. There's Antonio Hughes jumping into the passing lane and deflecting that ball away. Saints take it. Terrian Howard fouled on the outside by Kyle Bumbelow. Bumbelow reached in. And Howard will get an opportunity from the free throw line for a 1-and-1 here. Garrett Jackson in for Ian Morrison. Morrison has not been able to hit the scoreboard since he got those first 5 points for the Saints. Howard hits on the first free throw. First point for Terrian Howard, who now has 2. Junior transfer, originally from Champaign, Illinois. Brings the Saints within 13 of the Lakers, 24-11. Just over 4 minutes on the clock. Kevin Day, left side 3, good. Kevin Day hits his second three-pointer of the game. Howard to Parada. On the left elbow, Parada guarded by Adam Alexander. Picks up his dribble, gives it off to Howard. Saints working methodically once again in this possession. It's Howard. Step back, leans in looking for the contact. Can't get it as he misses on a wild jumper. Here's Esquini. Firing to his right. He was looking for Kyle Bumbelow, but overthrew him out of bounds. It's a turnover. Terrian Howard takes it slowly down court. Across the timeline. Passes off to Jordan Thornton. To Parada. Thomas Parada outside the perimeter. Gives it up to Thornton. Thornton drives to the left hand, draws the contact, and gets fouled. Foul on Adam Alexander, his second. It's the 9th team foul, so it's still 1-1 for Jordan Thornton. Alexander checks out. Dillingham is back in the game. Thornton misses the free throw. It's the second time Saints have missed the front end of a 1-1. Their foul shooting not doing them any favors today. Bumbelow passes off to Dillingham. Good ball movement by the Lakers. It's a Sweeney right now. To Bumbelow on his left, 8 on the shot clock. Bumbelow looking for the screen from Day, doesn't get it. He bounces over to Day. 3 seconds to shoot. Kevin Day dribbles twice, and it's a shot clock violation. Day did not seem to be aware of the shot clock situation, so he turns the ball over. Saints bring Ian Morrison and Ryan Peter back in for Jordan Thornton and Garrett Jackson. And the Lakers put on a light full court press with Jake Ludwig back in on the action. Hughes to Peter, down low Morrison, one-on-one against Day. He gives it up to Parada. Some contact, no call, and Parada is now called for an offensive foul. Very late call. I think Parada bought that call for himself. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. There was no whistle. Parada just stopped playing, assuming a foul was going to be called, and eventually it was, seemingly because of his reaction. And that whistle came good 5 seconds after the foul was actually committed. 16-point lead for Roosevelt.
Your partners are bad, but you haven't been that bad.
They've got the ball.
Make it 8 on 5.
It's Bumbelow. Kevin Day holds it up top, guarded by Hughes. It's bounced over to Dillingham. Jake Ludwig into the corner. 3-point attempt is good. That's Grant Gibson. Roosevelt starting to heat up from the field, and St. Francis has not come around offensively. This is starting to turn into a runaway if the Saints can't go on a little surge here before halftime. Ian Morrison, little baby hook is good. Saints need to do a little bit more of that, get Ian Morrison involved. He's got 7 points. Ludwig stripped by Terrion Howard. Howard taking it to the rim, layup, no. Morrison with the follow, misses the tip, gets his own rebound. Morrison back up, he's fouled by Dillingham. Second foul on Josh Dillingham. And Morrison will get 2 shots now, as that was a shooting foul, but it's also the 10th team foul now. Morrison 7 points so far in the game, and he makes the first free throw. 4 of 6 from the line. He hits them both. Nice work by Ian Morrison as the Saints turn the turnover into 2 points. Still trailing by 15. Trying to finish the first half strong with 1:20 to go. Ludwig is fouled. Jake Ludwig scored the first 15 points of the game for Roosevelt. He had 19 of the first 22. Started to score a little bit without him over the last few minutes, but now he's got himself involved once again and back to the line. He hits on the first, 20 points for Jake Ludwig. Aiming here to make it 21. And he does. 32-15. And then Ludwig heads to the bench with 1:20 to go in the half. Terrion Howard fires it ahead to Ian Morrison. Back out to Howard. Open 3. Howard connects. First three-pointer of the game for St. Francis. Terrion Howard's got 5 points, 32-18. Kyle Bumbelow working slowly down the court. Guarded by Howard. Bumbelow fouled by Howard. And that'll send him to the free throw line. Terrion Howard's been a little close on defense against Kyle Bumbelow right there, creating some contact. And Bumbelow has the 1-and-1. Looking for his first points of the game. Kyle Bumbelow, a 70% free throw shooter. First free throw is good from the junior out of Newcastle, Indiana, Kyle Bumbelow. 6 point per game scorer, 5.5. He hits them both. And the score is 34-18. Roosevelt by 16, under a minute to play in the first half. Thomas Parada across the timeline. Handed off to Terrion Howard. Hughes back to Howard. Ian Morrison at the foul line throws it away. He was looking down low for Thomas Parada, but he airmailed him straight out of bounds. And on what will likely be Roosevelt's final offensive possession of the half, they'll bring their best shooter back in, Jake Ludwig, off the bench. Ludwig's got 21 first half points. He's got the ball right now, 20 to shoot. Over to Esquini. Lakers trying to run a little clock against the St. Francis zone defense. 1-3-1 for the Fighting Saints. This is Ludwig throwing it away. Too high, looking for Grant Gibson. And St. Francis has 14 seconds with which to get the final shot of the half off. Inbounded to Antonio Hughes, looking for Terrion Howard. He hands it back to him. Howard's got 7 seconds here. Guarded by Bumbelow. Pull up three-pointer. No good. Rebound goes to Bumbelow. He's got a chance to run a little bit. Got the shot off on time, but he traveled beforehand, so no shot. Didn't go in anyway, and it's halftime. 34-18 our score. Roosevelt has the lead. 21 of those 34 points for their junior Jake Ludwig. Ian Morrison's got 9 points to lead the Saints, who have struggled on offense. Try to get back into this game, and we return for the second half about 15 minutes from now. I'll step aside, back for the second half with the Saints trailing by 16. Second half basketball coming up here at the Sullivan Center on the campus of the University of St. Francis. Tough first half for the Fighting Saints. They shot just 22% from the field and falling behind Roosevelt 34-18. Roosevelt didn't shoot the ball all that well, just 38% overall, but they were led by Jake Ludwig. Ludwig went 5 of 7, 21 points for the junior. And the rest of the team just 4 of 17 from the field and 13 points, but Ludwig has beaten St. Francis all by himself today. Saints are led by Ian Morrison, 9 points, 4 rebounds. Antonio Hughes has 5 boards, and Terrian Howard had a good defensive first half with 3 steals for the Fighting Saints. So they're hoping they can turn things around here over the final 20 minutes as they've got the ball first. They've reversed sides, going from left to right now, and it's Ian Morrison with the ball. Terrian Howard bounced low for Morrison. Morrison backing down on Ludwig. Easy layup is good. So Ian Morrison strikes first here in the second half. He's got 11 points, but an easy response comes from Adam Alexander. And right back the other way. Jordan Thornton misses the layup. Offensive rebound. Antonio Hughes is fouled going up. Fast-paced start to the second half. We're 35 seconds in. We've already gotten a layup from Morrison, and then an easy layup on the other end for Alexander. Jordan Thornton was looking to do the same thing that Alexander did. Came up a little bit short on the layup, but Hughes was there for the response. And he misses the first free throw. One more shot coming for Antonio Hughes. And it's a little bit too strong. Rebound to Adam Alexander. So Hughes goes 0 for 2 from the line there. Ludwig bounces low for Dillingham. Dillingham is blocked by Morrison. Here comes Terrian Howard. Howard flying down the floor, down into the corner for Jordan Thornton. Thornton finds Morrison, back outside, Hughes. Hughes gets inside, turns around, up with the left hand, no. And we've got a tie-up going the other way. Antonio Hughes has 6 rebounds now in the game. Just really struggling with his shot. He's 0 for 5 from the field and 0 for 2 from the free throw line. Saints have come up with some good defensive plays in this one, but just have not consistently been able to turn them into positives on the other end. Ball tapped out by Ian Morrison on the inbounds play, so Roosevelt will try it again, and Hayden Witt walking towards the sideline. He might be bleeding, I can't tell from here. 18:53 to go in the game. Saints trail by 16, and Hayden Witt does in fact appear to be bleeding, so he'll get that cleaned up before he can continue. It's going to be Roosevelt basketball when we're ready to resume action. They won possession arrow on the tie-up a few moments ago, and then on their first chance at inbounding, Ian Morrison deflected it right back out. Hayden Witt's going to go back to the locker room to get cleaned up a little bit more, so they'll just make a substitution for him. Garrett Jackson is into the game. Tough day for Hayden Witt. It's the second time he's had to leave with an injury of sorts. And we got another tie-up. Nice work by Garrett Jackson and Antonio Hughes on Grant Gibson, who was trapped in the corner there. I think it was Hughes who ultimately got his hand on the ball and forced the held ball, but good work by Jackson as well. Very nice press defense from the Saints, and they get the ball back. Thornton inbounds to Howard. Terrian Howard dribbles the ball off his foot and out of bounds, and that's just been the story of the game. Great looking defensive play, and it just followed up with nothing on offense. Can't have so many empty possessions after good defensive plays and expect to stay in the game, and right now the Saints trail by double digits. Here's Jake Ludwig. Alexander back to Ludwig. Ludwig lobs it for Alexander, and Alexander finishes the alley-oop by laying it in. Adam Alexander has the first 4 points in the half, and now a St. Francis turnover. This is going to go against Terrian Howard on the push-off. Howard's third foul.
Number 1, Terrian Howard, that is his his third, team's first of the second half.
So the Lakers get the ball right back. Jake Ludwig inbounds it to Joshua Dillingham. Hands it right back to Ludwig. Ludwig drives, pulls up in the lane, passes back outside to Hughes. Carson Hughes floats it over the outstretched arm of Ian Morrison and gets it to drop. First 2 points of the game for Hughes. Carson Hughes, that is. Here's Ian Morrison turning around on Dillingham and drawing the foul. Well, Morrison's been pretty consistent when getting the ball in the post. That's about it right now, though, for St. Francis. He's got 11 of the team's 20 points.
Correction, that is his third personal foul.
Third foul on Dillingham. It's the second this half on the team. Morrison's first free throw. No good. Ian Morrison is 5 of 8 from the line. He's gotten a lot of opportunities, but not converting them at the success rate that he wants to. Saints getting doubled up here by the Lakers, 40-20. Ian Morrison's second attempt is good. He's got 12 points. Ludwig races across half court, still flying on the floor, poked out from behind and out of bounds. It was last touched by St. Francis. I think it was Garrett Jackson. Got his hand on that ball and poked it away from Jake Ludwig. Ludwig will inbound it with 24 seconds still to shoot. And they won't use many of those 24 seconds. Into Adam Alexander, who scores. Alexander has got 6 already this half, 8 points for the game. Ian Morrison down low, bouncing once and freeing himself up for an open layup. Morrison's got 14. 3-point attempt, no good from Gibson, but an offensive rebound. Here's Jake Ludwig for 3, off the mark. And an over-the-back foul called on Roosevelt. That will go against Adam Alexander.
Roosevelt foul number 24.
Well, Ludwig missed that 3-pointer a moment ago. He's still stuck on 21 points.
Team's third.
This is actually, now that the Saints have 23, as Roosevelt calls a timeout. Saints 23 points on the board right now. This is the first time that they as a team have been outscoring Jake Ludwig as a player since the score was 3-0. Because Ludwig hit that first 3-pointer of the game for Roosevelt to tie it up. He scored the first 8 points. Actually, he scored the first 8 to make it 8-5. He ultimately went on to make it 15 points in a row. He scored the first 15 for his team and 19 of their first 22. And so he by himself has been outscoring St. Francis for most of the game, but that's no longer true. So that's step 1. Step 2, Saints trying to knock down a few shots, get back into this game. We'll come out of the timeout with Ian Morrison, Ryan Peter, Antonio Hughes, Terrian Howard, and Garrett Jackson. Carson Hughes, Grant Gibson, Adam Alexander, Jake Ludwig, Kevin Day on the floor for Roosevelt. They break the press, no problem. Here's Hughes bouncing it low for Morrison. Double teamed. He kicks it out to Peter for 3 from the corner. It's short. Hughes, another offensive rebound, but he's blocked going back up with it. Nice possession by the Saints. They got everything but the shot falling. Hughes has that in his back pocket, a 3-pointer from the corner. And Carson Hughes has 5 points. Hughes up top for Jackson. Terrian Howard on the left wing. Now Ryan Peter down low for Jackson. Jackson, short range jumper, misses, and he can't get the rebound. Battling for his own miss, he taps it out of bounds. Saints now just 7 of 27 from the field. Jackson checks out and Thomas Parada comes in. Parada knocked down a jumper earlier in this game. Saints looking for something like that a little bit more consistently. Excuse me, a little bit more consistently right now. Ludwig, 3-pointer, rims out, and the rebound tap to Morrison. Ludwig was deep, but had an open look. Maybe he hesitated a little bit too long. Ryan Peter. To his left, that pass deflected away from Ian Morrison. It was deflected by Chandler Fusak, who's been sitting down pretty much the whole game, just back out there. And there's an interception, deflected inside and picked off by Gibson. Here's Hughes for three. It's good.
That's for you, Jordan.
Same spot he made the last one. He's got 8 points now, all of them in the second half. Back-to-back three-pointers from the corner. Thomas Parada throws it off to Antonio Hughes on the wing. Down low, Morrison, guarded by Fuzak. Hook shot good with the left hand. Nice move by Ian Morrison. He's got 16 of his team's 25. On the other end, Kevin Day gets by the defense, but Thomas Parada comes from behind and forces the miss. Saints on the move. It's Terrian Howard. Throwing off to his right, Antonio Hughes. Hughes for three. It's good. Boy, did Antonio Hughes need that. He's been playing a good game aside from his shooting. He had been 0 of 7 from the field, and now finally his offense starting to match the rest of his intensity in this game as he knocks down the three-pointer. Second three made today by St. Francis. Ludwig gives it off to Fuzak. Hughes from the other corner. This time drives, gives it off to Day. Over to Gibson. Gibson misses on the three short, and Peter comes up with a rebound. There's Terrian Howard. Back to Ryan Peter. Parada down low to Morrison. Baby hook, no good for Morrison. This is Ludwig to Fuzak. Bounced into the corner for Kevin Day. Out to Gibson. Looking for Fuzak inside. It was deflected out of bounds. Chandler Fuzak picked up his second foul after just 5 minutes. He started today's game, but sat for the last 15 minutes of the first half and the first 5 minutes of the second half. Back out there trying to make an impact right now. He gets the inbounds pass from Kyle Bumbalow. Hughes tries another one from the same spot, and he's not missing from right there right now. It's become his sweet spot. Carson Hughes has hit 3 three-pointers from that very corner in the last couple of minutes. He's got 11 points in the last 6 minutes since halftime. Ian Morrison has that ball tip off his hands and out of bounds. He didn't go after it hard. He indicated that Fuzak was the last one to touch it. You can understand where he's coming from simply because you'd figure he could have saved that ball fairly easily. He just didn't think that he had touched it last.
Team up again.
Timeout called, 14:01 to play in the second half, 51-28. Roosevelt has the lead over St. Francis. This game started as a duel between Ian Morrison and Jake Ludwig, but Ludwig kept up at an unrealistic pace in the first half. Scored 19 of his team's first 22, finally slowed down. He's still sitting at 21 right now. Ian Morrison continues to have a good game. Not a lot of help offensively right now, particularly in regards to shooting. Saints have 11 turnovers. It's a higher number than Ryan Marks would like, but it's not a terrible number. They've moved the ball well on offense. They've got it down low to Ian Morrison, who's gone 5 of 10 from the field for 16 points. Just the rest of the team has not been able to convert. 4 of 22. Everyone combined aside from Morrison. It's tough to win games right now, and especially when the Saints found themselves behind in that first half once Roosevelt started to knock down a few shots from the outside. When you find yourself down by double digits, you're usually going to count on your outside shooters, and this season St. Francis just hasn't had much going from the outside. As a team, they're shooting just 29% on three-pointers, and that includes 2 of 7 today, so they're right at their season average in terms of percentage. St. Francis went back and forth against Trinity International on Wednesday. They overcame an 8-point deficit in the final 40 seconds, had free throws to tie the score in the final seconds, but Jordan Thornton was not able to hit all 3. And they end up losing that game by 1 point. Today's deficit a little bit bigger, but more time to erase it. Just looking for that spark to get them going. Roosevelt gets it in to Carson Hughes. Well, Ryan Marks has called on Isaiah Williams, who has not seen a lot of action lately, so trying to find that spark, going deep on the bench, and Williams jumps in front of the pass on defense, knocks the ball out of bounds. Nice work by Williams there, playing in just his 10th game this year out of the 23 that St. Francis has had as a team. 15 on the shot clock for Carson Hughes. Fired over to Sweeney. Down in the corner. Bumbleau, his three-pointer is blocked by Ian Morrison. Ball is loose and picked up by Terrion Howard. Nice defense by St. Francis. Now Howard off to Ryan Peter. Peter finds Morrison over to Hughes on the right wing. Ryan Peter wanted the three, but it was well defended by Day. There's Morrison making a nice move to get around Fusak. Morrison's got 18. Fusak fouled by Williams. Just the second foul on St. Francis. Williams picks up his first.
Number 21, Andre Wright.
Garrett Jackson, Jordan Thornton check in. Howard and Morrison will get a breather. So taking Morrison and Howard out of the game, the Saints only have 5 points on the floor. As far as what they've done tonight, these 5 guys. Hughes has 3 and Thornton has 2. Deep 3 for a Sweeney and it won't count. So whistle blew. I think he did not commit the foul. The foul's away from the ball. Goes on Chandler Fusak, his third. And he sits down. Adam Alexander is back in. Team's fourth foul. Excuse me, that's Fusak's fourth as well. Thornton's pass is intercepted by Carson Hughes. Three-point attempt up top is good for Kevin Day. Day's been effective from the outside in today's game. His third three-pointer. Just a 30% shooter from outside on the season, but he's been good in this one. Ryan Peter squares up, but Bumbleau gets in his face quickly. A little whistle, some wrestling between Sweeney and Williams. And the foul is called on the defense. Jake Sweeney whistled for his second. It's the team's fifth. Hughes trying to get it in. Way up top to Jordan Thornton. Thornton drives. He's bumped as he throws up a shot, and he'll get 2 free throws. Second foul on Kyle Bumbleau. And it's the 6th on the team, so the Saints are in the bonus. They'll get free throws from here on out. Jordan Thornton getting 2 shots on this one. It's a shooting foul. But he misses the first free throw. Thornton 0 of 2 on the line. And both shots missed well short. So he's just not in a shooting rhythm right now. 69% foul shooter on the year. And he makes this one. 54-31. Here comes the press, and this time the Lakers able to beat it fairly routinely. Hughes on the left side. Gives it off to Day. We got a whistle and another foul away from the ball. This going on Jordan Thornton. And for Thornton, that'll be number 1. It's just the 3rd on the team. 11:59 to play in the second half. 23-point lead for Roosevelt, and they've got an inbounds play coming up here once the officials get this sorted out as to where the pass should come from. Kevin Day in the corner, guarded by Williams. Carson Hughes open 3, can't connect, and Ryan Peter will let that ball just drift out of bounds. Hughes has been unstoppable from the left corner, but other than that one spot, he's missed all of his 3-point attempts, only 2 of them total, I believe. That one from the right wing, not particularly close. Here's Thornton, stripped, the ball is loose and picked up by Kevin Day. Jordan Thornton's just having a tough time out there today. Here's Ludwig. Day finds Carson Hughes to his right. Hughes flips it off to Alexander. Down in the corner, Ludwig is open. He drives and is fouled hard by Isaiah Williams.
St. Francis foul number 21, Isaiah Williams, his second. Team's fourth.
Second foul on Williams, fourth on the team. Ludwig already 7 of 8 from the free throw line so far in this game. Right around a 90% shooter for the year. But he misses the first here. Terrion Howard in for Antonio Hughes. And Ian Morrison's going to hop up off the bench as well. Morrison has been most of the offense today for St. Francis. He's got more than half the team's points. So he comes back on for Isaiah Williams. Ludwig hits 1 of 2. It's 8 of 10 from the line for the game. Here's Jordan Thornton around the screen. Thornton throws it off to Terrion Howard, now down low. Ian Morrison kicks it out to Thornton. Thornton drive, pull-up jumper is good. Nice drive, Jordan Thornton. 55-33. Here's Bumbleau against the double team. Bumbleau picks it up, fires it outside to an open Ludwig. Ludwig gives it up to Dillingham, who loses control of the ball, but Ryan Peter came in trying to pick it up and lost it out of bounds. So it'll stay with Roosevelt. Surprised Jake Ludwig didn't take that shot. He's been so sharp all game, but only 1 point so far here in the second half. Ludwig triggers this play back to Alexander. Inside Ludwig. Picks up his dribble and bounces over to Dillingham. 5 to shoot. Dillingham blocked. Ball is loose. It'll go out of bounds, and it was last touched by Roosevelt. St. Francis ball, 10:36 to go in the game. Terrion Howard across the timeline, guarded loosely by Bumbleau. Into the corner for Ryan Peter. Peter dribbles it around, now bounce low for Morrison. And Morrison guarded by Dillingham, picks it up, passes out to Peter. 11 to shoot. Thornton for 3, no. Rebound Morrison. Right back up with it. Ian Morrison scores again. Morrison's got 20. His team trails by that same number. Morrison now challenging Jake Ludwig for scoring supremacy in this game. He's only 2 points behind. Alexander shovels it off to Dillingham, who's blocked by Morrison. Terrion Howard out of control. That ball picked off by Dillingham. Dillingham to Bumbleau, right back to Josh Dillingham, who is fouled. No, it's offensive. They call it offensive on Joshua Dillingham, and that's his 4th.
That is his 4th, team 7.
It's the 7th foul on Roosevelt. St. Francis gets it back, trying to cut it under 20. Hayden Witt back in the game for the Saints. It's good to see. He sat down earlier. He was bleeding. Had to take some time off. Witt can't corral that pass from Thornton as it was deflected. Here's Day in the corner. Bounced low for Alexander. Alexander backing it on Morrison. Gives it up to Gibson, who's fouled. Grant Gibson fouled on the play by Hayden Witt. That's Witt's 2nd. And Gibson has 2 free throws. First shot is good. Roosevelt as a team from the foul line today has shot the ball well. Most of those shots coming from Jake Ludwig. He's 8 of 10. The rest of the team combined 3 for 3. And now they are 12 of 14 as a team. 57-35. Antonio Hughes up to Hayden Witt. Over to Terrion Howard. Here's Hughes on the right wing. Hughes dribbles in on Ludwig. Jump stop in the paint. Up with the left hand. He can't get the roll. Battle for the rebound, won by Ryan Peter. Out to Morrison. Morrison puts the ball on the floor, drives, lays it up and in. Something you don't see very often from Ian Morrison. Creating his own shot with the drive, and 2 more points for Morrison, and the ball right back as Ludwig is called for the travel. So the Saints can add some more right here. Trying to cut further into this deficit. Peters' pass, though, deflected by Alexander and picked off by Ludwig. Ludwig backs it up. He passes over to Kevin Day. Left wing, Gibson finds an open man inside. Alexander misses on the dunk. Out to Ludwig, they'll reset. I think they're going to reset the shot clock. They had to blow the whistle to establish that. Good challenge by Hayden Witt defensively on that Alexander dunk attempt. I don't think he got his hand on the ball. He may have. Certainly got in the way of Alexander, forced him to miss the dunk attempt. The ball, of course, hit the rim. Alexander put it there himself. So the shot clock does have to reset as we get set to reconvene here. 8:12 to go in the game. This has been all Roosevelt ever since Jake Ludwig built a 15-7 lead all by himself. This is Ludwig. Dribbling to his left around Hayden Witt. And now back outside, Jake Esquini. Long three-pointer is good. From way outside, Jake Esquini hits the three-pointer, assisted by Ludwig, who's now got 7 assists to go with his 22 points. Morrison fouled, and he hits the shot. Ian Morrison is having a whale of a game for St. Francis. He just has not, unfortunately, gotten enough help. He's got 24 points. He's going back to the free throw line. Chandler Fusak back in for Roosevelt. Morrison tries to make this a three-point play to answer Esquini's three-pointer on the other end, but Ian cannot convert with the free throw. 60-39 then is our score. There's Bumbelow, off to Ludwig, down into the corner to Esquini. Bounced for Fusak. They'll work it outside. Bumbelow for 3, misses it short, rebounded by Hayden Witt. Ryan Peter left wing, guarded by Esquini. Dribbles towards the top and passes to his right, Antonio Hughes, over to Terrion Howard. Hughes thought about the long range shot, now he'll take it. Way off. Rebounded by Bumbelow. Bumbelow bounces low for the cutting Fusak, who scores and is fouled. First points of the game for Chandler Fusak, and it comes on a big play where he's got a chance to add another one. 6:56 to go in the game, 62-39. Roosevelt has the lead. They'll get a free throw on the other side of the timeout. I'm going to step aside for a moment. 23-point lead for Roosevelt. Just under 7 minutes to play in the game. (62-39), Roosevelt leads St. Francis. 6:56 to play in the game. Chandler Fusak is at the free throw line for the Lakers when we come out of this timeout. Ian Morrison today, 24 points for St. Francis on 9 of 14 shooting. The rest of the team combined has just 14 points.
I see you, Chad.
On 5 of 26 from the field. That's been the biggest issue today, and a lot of stats. Two teams pretty close to even. St. Francis has turned the ball over a few more times. Roosevelt has a couple more rebounds, but they're very close in almost every regard, except for shooting. St. Francis just hasn't been able to put the ball in the basket. Fuzak, on the other hand, is able to hit the free throw. He's got his first 3 points of the game at 63-39. Of course, the other big difference is the shot selection. Roosevelt's not shooting at an extremely high percentage, 40% overall, but they're shooting well from outside. St. Francis has made only 2 3-pointers in the game. Ian Morrison banks it in. Nice shot, Ian Morrison. He continues to play well. 26 points now. He has surpassed Jake Ludwig as the game high. Esquini over to Gibson. Back to Esquini. Roosevelt running some clock with a big lead here late in the game. Carson Hughes off to the right side, throws it back across, and Terrion Howard jumps in front to tap that ball away. Howard will take it all the way in with an easy layup. Nice play by Howard, both defensively and then finishing it on the offensive end. 7 points for the junior. Gibson bounces low for Fuzak, who scores over Morrison. So after a very slow game for Chandler Fuzak, he's got 5 points in the last 2 minutes. Hayden Witt hands it to Ryan Peter. Peter back into Witt. Hayden Witt is able to control his body and score. Nice work with Fuzak bearing down. Hayden Witt's got his first 2 points. Again, Roosevelt looking to run some clock as we near 5 minutes to go.
Shoot it! Shoot it!
Esquini takes one dribble, fires a long 3, misses, but Carson Hughes picks up the rebound. They'll run a little bit more clock here. Esquini back to Bumbelow, guarded outside by Ryan Peter. Bumbelow takes it all the way back to the half-court circle. Esquini looking for Hughes. Terrion Howard knocked it away, but tapped off of Carson Hughes last. Another nice defensive play by Terrion Howard. He's had a great defensive game. Forcing the turnover there. 4:36 to play in the game. Saints get the ball back, down by 20. Lob down low for Morrison, whacked out of his hands. Carson Hughes is fouled by Morrison after he takes possession. The foul called on Morrison, just the second on him. The 7th on the team, so that means they'll trudge all the way down to the other side of the floor. They give Carson Hughes 1-and-1 from the line. Roosevelt trying to win their 9th consecutive game and in good position to do so. Trying to move into the top 25 and challenge Governor State for first place in conference. Carson Hughes misses on the front end of the 1-and-1. St. Francis comes away with the rebound. Here's Peter inside for Morrison, 1-on-1 against Fuzak. Morrison bounces it in, now outside to Ryan Peter. Antonio Hughes back to Peter, looking inside for Morrison, he's got him. Morrison up over Fuzak, he's fouled. And that's number 5 on Chandler Fuzak.
Roosevelt called number 44, Chandler Fuzak.
So Jake Ludwig checks back into the game for Fuzak, and Morrison has 2 foul shots. So far today, Ian Morrison, 6 of 10 from the line. On the season, he's a 72% shooter. Shot is good, and he'll get one more. Morrison hits them both. He's up to 28 points for the game. And a timeout called by St. Francis, a full timeout with 4 minutes and 7 seconds to play in the game. Trailing Roosevelt by 18 points. First of back-to-back games at home for the Fighting Saints. And they'll have 2 on the road, and they finished the season with 3 in a row at the Sullivan Center. They'll take on Cardinal Stritch on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock start time for that game. It's another big one. This game not quite over yet, but it's not looking good for St. Francis. If they cannot come from behind to win, they would fall to 5-9 in conference with their 4th consecutive conference loss, and 6 games remaining on the schedule. It's tough to know at this point how many wins it's going to take to get into the conference tournament. Right now the cutoff is 6-7. So the Saints technically only 1 game out, but they're trailing 3 teams that are 6-7. St. Ambrose, Olivet Nazarene, and Robert Morris. They'll see 2 of those 3 teams again. Olivet and St. Ambrose are the final 2 games of the season on February 14th and 17th. So they're certainly not out of the race for conference tournament, even if they do fall to 5-9 with a loss here. They've got to get in gear right now, though. Same problems today that they've had recently, just shooting mainly. .29% from 3-point range has been their standard this year. That's what they're at today, 2 for 9. Lakers have hit 12 3-pointers. Both teams are shooting about 40% from the field overall, but it's those 3-pointers that have been probably the biggest difference. Here comes Jake Ludwig down the sideline. Well, the Saints have shot 40% from the field, which is not a number they strive for, but it's not a terrible number. The problem is they're not shooting 3-pointers. So most of your shots are coming from inside the paint. You really can't settle for only 40%, and that's what they're at in today's game, hence the 18-point deficit. Here's a drive for Bumbelow, gives it off down low for Dillingham, who bounces outside to Hughes. Carson Hughes misses on the 3. Hughes continues to struggle from any spot on the floor except for that left corner where he's at 3 of 3 3-point attempts. Hayden Witt out to Ryan Peter. Howard inside for Morrison. Nice pass to Hayden Witt. Witt with a good fake gets everybody to miss, and with 4 guys bearing down on him, he draws the foul. Foul goes against Carson Hughes. Just the first on number 1 Hughes. Double bonus now for the Saints. First shot from Hayden Witt is good. Just the 16th and 17th free throw attempts this year for Hayden Witt. He's made 10. Adam Alexander back in for Joshua Dillingham. And Witt hits 1 of 2 on this trip. Long rebound out to Bumbelow, who's immediately fouled by Witt. Witt is going for the ball there, but he collided with Bumbelow, knocked him to the ground. And Bumbelow will go down to the other side of the floor to take free throws, or at least one of them. Single bonus still for Roosevelt, so he'll get 1-and-1 opportunity. The Lakers pull all of their rebounders back and concede the rebound out of miss, as Bumbelow does make the first free throw, rendering that point moot. 1 more coming. One of 2 for Bumbelow, who's got 3 points in the game. Here's Terrion Howard. Over to Antonio Hughes. Hughes working his way around, bounces down low to Ian Morrison. Morrison against Dillingham, thrown out to Hughes. Back down low to Morrison. Morrison finds an open shooter. Ryan Peter hits the 3. Saints hanging around. They've cut it to 15 with 3 minutes left. Bumbelow at half court, going up against Antonio Hughes. Shot clock down to 15, and Hughes is called for the foul.
St. foul number 10, Antonio Hughes.
That's the 9th on the team. It's Hughes' first. Bumbelow, another 1-and-1 here. Made 1 of 2 just a moment ago. First foul shot for Bumbelow is good. Roosevelt continues to shoot free throws well as a team as they extend their lead to 17. Bumbelow making them both on this trip. Terry and Howard over to Ryan Peter. Peter knocked down a 3 in the last possession. This time he comes up empty. Hayden Witt taps the rebound, looking to get it to Ian Morrison, but instead it's lost out of bounds. Grant Gibson back in for Joshua Dillingham. And the Saints put on a full court press. And it works out because the Lakers throw it away. Carson Hughes trying to get it in for Grant Gibson, and he overthrew him. Out the sideline, St. Francis basketball underneath the Roosevelt basket. Hughes lobs it in for Terrion Howard. Nearly taken away by Gibson, but Howard was able to hold on. Hughes down to Hayden Witt in the corner, back to Hughes. Worked around the perimeter, it's Ryan Peter. Terrion Howard, deep 3, comes up short. Hayden Witt skies in for the offensive rebound. Dillingham reaches his hand in and creates the tie-up. We're going the other way. Substitution here as Dillingham checks out and Jake Esquini comes back in. Jake Ludwig across half court gets the pass from Kyle Bumbelow. Ludwig sitting on just 1 point here in the second half, but he set the pace in this game, scoring 21 in the first half, including 19 of his team's first 22. Ludwig on a runner, floats it in this time, and there's his first field goal of the half. He's got 24 points for the game. Antonio Hughes' pass is deflected, but finds Terrion Howard. Here's Hayden Witt backing down on Gibson. Turnaround, up, no. And the rebound is off of Alexander, out of bounds. Nice work by Ian Morrison. Tapping that ball off of Adam Alexander. Dillingham back in for defense. And then Carson Hughes comes on for Jake Ludwig. Hughes rifles it into Howard for 3. In and out. Offensive rebound, Morrison. Back up. No, but a foul. That's the 11th rebound for Ian Morrison. So he's got a double-double now, 28 points, 11 rebounds. He's also got a pair of assists, and he can pick up his 30th point of the game if he misses, or excuse me, if he makes both these free throws. I guess also if he misses them, but he'd have to get his own rebound. It's the first shot here. Morrison's been busy from the line tonight. This is his 14th free throw attempt, and he's hit 10 of them. 70-53, a minute and a half to go. Bumbelow wrapped up by Antonio Hughes. He's guarding him near half court. Bumbelow blew by him, and Hughes just grabbed him. Not sure what that was all about. But Bumbelow now has 2 free throws as the Lakers are in the double bonus. First shot good for Bumbelow. He's been busy from the free throw line here in the second half. Bumbelow now 6 of 7 from the line in the game. Roosevelt shooting better than 80%. If Bumbelow misses this one, now they're under 80%. Terrion Howard walks it to the right. 17 of 22 free throws for the game for Roosevelt. Ryan Peter throws it away. Carson Hughes, good defense on that play. Forced Peter to lose the ball. We're under a minute to go. And Carson Hughes is going to dribble out about 20 seconds of that minute. So he holds it at half court and will probably for as long as he can. Shot clock down to 8. He starts to make his move. Hughes hands it off to Bumbelow. Down into the corner. Gibson misses the 3. Rebound knocked out of bounds by Howard. And now just 7 seconds differentiate the shot and game clock. Make it 8 seconds. So Roosevelt will be able to take this down under 10 before St. Francis gets it back again. Roosevelt Lakers on their way to their 2nd victory this year against the St. Francis Fighting Saints. It would be their 9th win in a row, 2 of them against the Saints during that stretch. They started out this year 3-3 in conference play. They're about to win their 8th straight in the CCAC. Shot clock down to 8, and here comes Bumbelow. Driving into the paint. Kicked out to Gibson. Gibson has the ball poked away from him. He falls on top of it, but it's a shot clock violation. So the Saints will have one more chance to get a few more points on the board. Ian Morrison's been the star of today's game offensively for St. Francis. 30 of his team's 53 points. Terrion Howard, 5 seconds, over to Antonio Hughes. And Hughes is not going to bother taking a shot. Saints will go down by a final score of 71-53. Roosevelt picks up their 2nd victory this season against St. Francis. It's their 9th straight win, 8th in a row in conference, and they improved to 20-4 overall this year, including 11-3 in conference. St. Francis drops their 4th straight game. They're 8-15 now, and they've gone from 5-5 and right in the thick of things in the CCAC to 5-9 over the last 2 weeks. Let's take a look at some of the final stats in today's game. Saints shot just 38% of the field from the field. Not much worse than Roosevelt, who shot 40%, but the big difference, 3-pointers for Roosevelt, 12 of 33. St. Francis went just 3 for 13. Turnovers about even. St. Francis 18, Roosevelt 17. Rebounds about even. Roosevelt had 36. St. Francis had 34, with each team collecting 11 on the offensive end. But again, the big difference, Roosevelt was hitting their 3-pointers, and St. Francis really not shooting all that well from anywhere in today's game, with one exception. That was Ian Morrison. Morrison goes 10 of 15 in the game, 30 points, 11 rebounds. A huge game for the senior center, but not enough help around him. Again, he scored 30 on 10 of 15 from the field. The rest of the team, 23 points total on 8 of 33. Worse than 25% for everyone you take Morrison out. So not a great game offensively aside from Morrison. Plenty of good things today from the Saints. Really, they played well all game defensively. And they weren't horrible on offense aside from the shooting, but they just weren't able to put the ball in the basket consistently enough to beat a high-quality team like Roosevelt. Next game for St. Francis is Wednesday. It's a home game again. They're taking on Cardinal Stritch at 7 o'clock p.m. here at the Sullivan Center. We'll have the broadcast for you. If you cannot make it out to the Sullivan Center on Wednesday, you can see us through GoFightingSaints.com. Check out the St. Francis YouTube page for the direct link to the game. 4 of the final 6 games still at home for St. Francis, so they've still got a chance to make a run into the conference tournament. Top 8 teams in the CCAC will make it into that tournament to be played in late February. Again, our final score today, Roosevelt 71, St. Francis 53. That's going to do it for the broadcast. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself, and hopefully you do so again on Wednesday. We're back at it then. Until then, this is Terry Bonadonna signing off for the University of St. Francis. Good night, all.